Welcome, Jen. It's so fun to have you here. And I know it's going to be an energetic hour. And we're going to talk all about sugar addictions, how to work through sugar addictions. And I know my listeners are very excited to hear from you. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Shanna. I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. And I always like to start with who you are, why you're in the space that you're in, because maybe some people have heard your story before and others haven't. So if we just like jump right into some questions, they're like, hey, like I have no idea what this lady's all about. So go ahead and just give us a real, quick version of how you got to where you are now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love it. All right. So the ultra brief, exciting story is I'm almost 50, 3 kids, come from a family history of addiction, bipolar, depression, you name it. I've seen it in my family. And so growing up, eating rows of Oreos, yeah, and feeling down and not knowing there was a connection. And seeing, with all due respect to my family, I love them. Both family members go in and out of depression as a young kid. You get your own tics, for lack of a better way to say it. No judgment, by the way, if anyone's like, oh, me too. And so it wasn't until I got gastritis, I decided maybe I should put myself on some St. John's wort or something. This is no longer feeling like it's going to pass. Did I start to take a really hard look like at what's going on in my life? And that happened in my 20s. So from my 9 and 10 through high school, through college, after college, I was like, I stopped feeling good. Weight was a struggle, anxiety. Halloween was my favorite holiday. And I was like, Jen, you're in your 20s. Why is Halloween still your favorite holiday? And so, you start to just see you have a problem. And so I always say, and I know we'll talk about this method, it's called the sugar freedom method. But people say, where did it come from? And I'm like, well, this thing saved my life. And I decided to package it, put it together so it didn't just save mine, it would help other women, 40s to 60s, like highly addicted. My life worked. I had a great job. Things worked. Like this wouldn't fix itself. And so that's how I got here.
Great. So I think it's interesting how like your main struggle was on the mental end of it with bipolar and depression. And I know we've had some guests on the podcast talking about that and talking about how the gut and the brain are so related. But most people think, if they're not overweight or if they don't have some sort of blood sugar dysregulation, that a
Yes.
sugar addiction doesn't really pertain to them. And they have really there's until they take certain things out of their diet or have maybe been on medications for bipolar depression, whatever it is, those aren't working. Like they're just not connecting the dots that holy crap, maybe sugar or some other food, some inflammatory foods
Chemicals.
are
That's right.
are the issues. So how did you narrow it? Like how, we've heard like, oh, maybe it's gluten, maybe it's soy,
Yeah,
maybe
let's
how
talk
did
about it.
like it is sugar for me.
You are so fun. And I just want to say, assuming it's okay, people don't realize, okay, so let's just back it up. I went to medical school. Prior to that, and I didn't like it, so I left within a year. Prior to that, I was a biochemist, 3.65 GPA from Stony Brook. So I thought I was heading into being a pediatrician. So I thought I wanted that. So I had all this education. So I knew a lot of stuff already, but it was amazing. I hadn't applied it to myself. So should you know this as well, doctors, come work with us. There ain't no judgment. There's no shame because I didn't even put it together. But when I wasn't feeling well, and what I always share is, if I told you how many practitioners and experts I've hired to help me and my third kid, when she came out, she was not well. Cradle cap, would eat and like pass out, and her hair wasn't growing. People said, oh, she's fine. I'm like, not fine. I have 2 others, not fine. And so it was really a lot of research, a lot of hiring experts, a lot of piecemealing it to where I was like, wow, it is the gut. She ended up having leaky gut. It is the gut The gut is related to the brain. It's one tube. When we work on gut health, we help mental health. Why? Because 80+% of serotonin is made in the gut. So while my parents, God bless them, were on antidepressants for most of my life, it never solved the issue because we were never working on the root issue, which was gut health and a host of other things. My dad was a sugar addict ad nauseum. And so I put it together through experience, right? Through my own training, through hiring experts. And the beauty, I'll just say is, and I love that you said it, it's not just one thing. It's not just, oh, we take out sugar, which by the way, I have to say, because my claim to fame is, it's not about taking it out forever. I don't believe in this black and white. I'm a color outside the box kind of girl, black sheep. So if you tell me don't do it, I'm gonna
How
do it
I
behind
am
your
too.
back.
Like,
I'm gonna do it
nope,
behind
I
your back.
don't like this.
Yeah, and so it can't be restrictive. I mean, addiction is our work, anti-inflammation, anti-addiction. And so it's how to manage it, how to kick cravings, we get them to go away, and then how to manage the addiction. And so it's been years and years and years, and it's not just one thing. And so the method is many pieces, but one is gut health. And sugar wreaks havoc, causes so much inflammation, and it's just one piece, right? So it's not, oh, Shanna, we take this out and it's like, oh, miracle. No, we can get into it, but how's your stress? How's your relationships? What other chemicals do you have in your diet? Are you sleeping? Menopause for women. Have you had surgeries? What kind of trauma have you had?
Yeah.
So many people. Well, yeah. And so we address each piece in 5 steps together over 6 months.
Yeah, and we'll talk
It's
about those
amazing.
5
It's
steps.
amazing.
It's
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 amazing.
crazy because it's like we know sugar is addictive, but it tastes so darn good. It's like, okay, if you say, "Okay, take soy out of your diet or take seed oils out of your diet," people are like, "Okay, I think I can do that." But sugar, it's like that is tough. So, what is it about sugar that makes it so addictive and so
I
hard to get
I
out?
love that. And I will answer that. And you see, when we say take it out, I was already like this, my back went up.
Yeah. We reduce.
So you ready? This is the most amazing thing, and I will absolutely answer that. When you stop craving it, you then stop eating it, and it's not because you white knuckled it, or because you're getting married, or because you're on a cleanse, or because it's Lent, with all due respect. So I have all my cousins, we're not eating chocolate for the month. That's great. And they wait for the day after. After Easter, it's like
Right.
chocolate, 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 chocolate. And so I don't knock it. I love my cousins, but it's hysterical every year. And it's because it's a rewiring. So we think about it different also, right? And so that's number one, we rethink about it. But number two, to answer your question, there were studies done on rats, and I always say, look, don't take my word for it or anyone's. Go Google it. There was a rat study where they gave rats cocaine. Do you know this one? And they gave rats sugar. And then they took it away and then gave them a choice. Do you want the cocaine or the sugar? And it still blows my mind. The rats chose cane sugar. And I'm like, and so redefining how we see it in my house when we eat it. My kids are 9, 12, and 14. And I'm like, how many hits did you take today? So I don't not have it because I believe in normalcy. I believe in not restricting. I don't need them in college saying my mother was like a Nazi about food, and now I'm going to have it all. When they ask, we drive through Dunkin' Donuts. They hate it. We threw out half the munchkins, but they're like, why are we in the drive-through? Oh, because you said you've only had them once in your life, and you're 9, 12, and 14. Let's go now. And so do I recommend that for everyone? No. But my point is we have to look at it different. It is more addictive than cocaine. It actually gives us a dopamine hit. So we're actually linking, without realizing it, joy, a sense of a high, yes, from having it. And so right there, the connection, right? When we see our bestie friends, we love to see them because we get this high, this excitement. And so we get like addicted to them in a good way, right? Oh, hey, Josie, you want to hang out. Hey, sugar. The problem is our friends make us feel better. Sugar inflames us. And when we're inflamed, we want more. And so it's a vicious loop. So we teach my team and I, like, how to break the loop, not how to say no to sugar. What a waste, right? Cocaine addicts, with all due respect to anyone who has experienced that, same thing with cigarettes, right? Well, I'd say cocaine more, or alcohol. It's a real disease. It's a real issue. The problem is here, you don't feel good here. Oh, someone dies, here's some cake.
Right.
Oh, you're down, here's a lollipop. I mean, the stuff I see people, my kids eat a lot. Oh no, don't give them a lollipop. Right? And does that make sense? So it's cultural as well as it's addictive, literally.
Yeah, and such a
Yeah,
reward, used as a reward for everything, especially with kids, and that's where they get hooked, and it just becomes more and more of an issue as they get older.
and
Um,
normal. Yeah.
I'm curious to go back to your baby though, if you don't mind talking about that, like your 3rd
Shh,
baby, and you said had
Sydney.
cradle cap and severe
Hair
issues.
wasn't growing and she would eat and
Yeah,
I'd
like
watch her like get exhausted. I'm like, uh-uh.
yeah, and I want like, I have 3 kids as well, and it was after my 3rd child that I developed more severe health issues because I think I was just so depleted and
So did
stressed,
I. So
sleep
did I.
deprived, and
Mhm.
that's where when I was kinda like, "Okay, what I'm doing here is not healing my body, what I'm eating is not," but
Good
that's a
job.
whole nother topic, but I'm curious to see, like, how did you figure it out when your child was a baby, or was it later? Because, leaky gut is kind of a term, we've talked about that on the podcast, where those tight junctions just start to
Correct.
kind of open when they're
Open
not
up.
supposed to, and things are leaching
Yes.
out into the bloodstream, whether they're nutrients or other things that aren't
Food
supposed to
particles.
be there.
That's
But you
right.
wouldn't think babies would, have leaky gut, but of course it could be possible if their intestines
Well,
are
if their mother had it.
compromised and inflamed.
So I
Exactly.
had
The
it
mom's
and
pack.
then she had it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So how did you figure that out? Because I'm sure there's a lot of moms here that are like,
Okay.
cradle cap is just normal for my kid, or, colic is normal. And I feel like, and forgive me, my youngest is 14. So
Say
maybe
it.
they figured these things out a little
That's
bit
my
more since I was
oldest.
a mother, but I
Oh no, they
it's even
haven't.
worse
They haven't.
than
Because
what it
mine's,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me how you figured that out.
I
Or if,
okay.
yeah, just a little bit of that story.
So for all the mothers listening, we know best. And I'll just say it because we'll get there whenever, it's fine. But module 3 of the sugar freedom method is tuning in, understanding your own gut instincts, and being able to tune out, and having negativity and other stuff not be worn by us. You can't figure out addiction and think straight when others are putting their opinions and their guilt and their shame. And we'll get into narcissism another time, really. And so you can't even think straight. So because I teach this, right? I was like, I need to tune in and figure out what this is. And my gut told me that this is not normal. Mothers always know, and I need to find answers. Now, when I tell you it was a long road, but we figured it out by 5, but I'm a health coach for 20 years now. So I have a health coach background. I had seen so much stuff that I was like, this is not right. And I did not know. I spent tens of thousands of dollars with any practitioner that told me they could help her. We were doing tens of thousands. I was like that mother. Here's my credit card. Get her handled. Oh, you didn't? Okay, we're going to stop paying you. How about you? How about you? How
Yeah.
about chiropractic? How about light therapy in her ear? How about doing food sensitivity, different tappings? I've done everything. How about witches brew herbs and cicadas and bugs and things the chiropractor said I would drive 2 hours to New York City. So when I tell you there was no stone unturned, and I knew we would watch. And again, I have an advantage as a health coach. But you also know if your child is passing out after breakfast and you gave her oatmeal at 1.5, I got a problem with that. There's something wrong. That is not normal activity. Oh, it's just cradle cap. No. And so, right, it's always your intuition. Do your research. My mother wants to ask me a question. We'll talk about it. Please feel free to hit me up. Okay. But it was like that. And then we got to leaky gut. We got to food sensitivities. And she outgrew them because we healed her. And we do not eat a lot of chemicals in our house. So we also weren't continuing ingesting. Okay, we eat organic. We eat little to no food dyes. My second kid is highly sensitive and she literally has a personality rewrite, not ADHD, food sensitivities, okay, to cane sugar. And so anyway, so it was
Yeah.
right piece by piece.
Yeah, it is, and it's
But
different for every person, but yeah, we had my 2nd child had severe issues that I had same thing. I mean, I was
so did
on a
I.
mission to figure this out. And then my third, definitely every time he has red food dye, he'll, I have a headache today. Okay, what did you have a red
Right,
Gatorade? Did you,
right,
you know, it's like,
right.
and it, we can always link it back. So thank you for sharing that. Um,
You're welcome.
so let's talk about the fasting method, and then I have a few more questions that I'd love to talk about. But
Right,
talk us,
sure.
talk us through the fasting method, like, or not the fasting method, sugar
I love it. I
method.
love it. I was
Okay,
like,
here's my brain.
that's cool too.
Like fasting.
That can work.
Little
And
bit
sometimes
different.
fasting works. But yeah, I love it. The sugar freedom
Sugar
method.
freedom method. Talk us through how you develop that, and what people are working through in that program.
25 years. It's I just always say literally it saved my life. And I'm like, ooh, write that down. Oh, that worked on vacation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I eat clean all week, and wow, by Friday, I am finished and consuming the house, and Monday I'm good again. And so it based on how many years I had been coaching, as well as my health background, as well as the addiction. So you have to know it's many things. And I'm like, oh, it works. And so you have to know it, right? It's decades of experience. And you got to really want it. That's module one. Like, I'll just say visualize it. You just got to know what you want. Some people have very unrealistic, and that's why they never reach even their weight goals. With all due respect, oh, I want, people will promise you everything out there. Don't believe it. Is it realistic for your body? Do you have organs missing? Are you in menopause? Have you been obese your whole life? Is this a thing you haven't slept in decades? Your bowels haven't moved since you're 10. So I've seen it all. You have
Yeah.
organs,
And I don't mean to laugh at it, because that's
thyroid.
a very real issue for people.
95% of women who come
Very
see us haven't slept in almost a decade. Their bowels aren't moving. The doctors call it normal. Drink more water. The fat around your belly, it's menopause. And I'm like, no, it ain't if you saw what I look like at almost 50 now with 3 kids. I don't diet and I don't overexercise. I'm not inflamed. And so you got to understand that. And part of that is also, you got to understand your schedule. See, when you're stressed all day and you're at our fabulous age, your body isn't able to do what it does with taking on cortisol and stress like it did in its 20s and 30s. Come 40s, 50s, 60s, we're in trouble. And so part of it is schedule management. And then two, I'll just like, it's all about the chemicals in food. And so we teach you our basics, and then we teach you how to understand for yourself, what the heck do you need to reduce, take out temporarily? Like, what do you need? And so we give you I take you food shopping. It's an Italian in a supermarket is to die for. Ice cream and this and nut milks and milk and vegetables and the cookie. And so you get an upgrade. You're just not guessing anymore. Is it just the oils? You said that and I was like, oh, thank God someone talked about oil.
I know, because it's not talked about, and it's a huge piece of
And
the
it's not
puzzle for
just
a
take out
lot.
the sugar. There's 100 names. And it could be the citric acid, it could be the natural flavors. Dear God, it could be the onions. I mean, people are like, what? And so it's not about getting crazy or it's difficult. You just educate yourself. And then I'm just like, here's all the brand name stuff that doesn't hurt 95% of women. And so we do that. And then three, I was saying this tuning in, understanding yourself. The goal is for you to understand yourself and then decide from there. If a woman says, I had a test, it was negative, I don't feel well. And I'm like, I got it. It's because something's off in your body and tests aren't showing it. But we know best. And so we teach you how to understand yourself. We forget because we're over marketed. Eat this. Just because it says breakfast bar doesn't mean it's a breakfast bar. It doesn't mean it's good for breakfast.
It's probably
And
dessert.
it's not even dessert. That
I
shit'll kill you too. But right, exactly. And so we teach you to tune in. And my favorite of all things is how to live it. So module 4 is, how are we going to live this? If a person says, with all due respect, I've done Noom, I've done this faster way to this, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Jenny, I did great on shakes, or I did this. And I go, oh, well, what happened? Because we promise long-term. And they go, well, my mother died. I had a tragedy. I go away a lot for work. I travel. That one always throws me. I said, well, you kind of think you need to understand how to live this anti-inflammation when we're busy, stressed out, husband's gone, got a divorce. Like, we don't talk about that piece. To me, that is everything. The worst thing you can do is drop 20, start to detoxify, and then there's no skills there to maintain anything. And then you jam it all back in that poor sweet body of ours. And now we're more inflamed. And so we teach you like how to make this a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. I can go all day. And then 5 is just how to love it. So I've learned, so this one came from me, like I'd be great, yeah. And I'd be like, whoa, what's 10 pounds? Why am I back on the wine? Why am I eating cookies again at night? And it's because there were pieces of my life, we talk about it as a circle of life, that were out of balance that no one addressed. If you don't like your boss because he's mean, or you are the boss and you don't like some of your employees, or you got some issues with the husband, or your kids are doing something, or money's tight, or you got something in society or relationships or your religion, if we don't address loving our lives more, sugar will never go out, because it's a hit. Makes you feel good when the rest of your life doesn't. And so visualize it, clarify it, tune in, live it, and then love your life. And then we talked to you about adrenal, sleep, and gut and that. But those, anyway, I'll be quiet there. Those are the pieces, and they work.
Yeah, it's all
together.
It's like if people are super sick, it's just like peeling back a layer of the onion and figuring out, yep, this worked for this. This wasn't a good approach for me. And people just want to feel better within a week. It's like we've got to figure out those foundational things first, put those in play, and then we can start tweaking. And you might take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and another 2 steps forward and another step back. And like healing is never linear. And I know in my programs, I want people to understand that right off the bat. And I'll agree. It's like I get emails all the time. Like I've been overweight my whole life. If I do this program, can you promise that no, I cannot promise. Like I will give you the tools and I will teach you, but you implement it and you need to figure out what is good for you. And I agree. Like I don't give meal plans in my programs because that's not teaching people how to apply what they
I
learn.
don't know if what I eat is what you're gonna like.
Okay, well, what do you do when you get to the end of my meal plan after 2 weeks? Like, what do you do? Do you know what to do? Like, that's not helpful. It's not helpful for you to go to a restaurant and say, I have no idea what to order because I'm not on my meal plan anymore. It's like
boring meal plan. I want to shoot myself.
Yeah, and it's like it's so different for everybody. Like, I don't know what your sensitivities are or what your preferences.
What you like to eat.
Yes. Oh, everyone likes to eat. It's like when I hear people say, I don't like to eat, I'm like, is that for real? Or have you just been conditioned to say, like, if they're sick when they eat, that's one thing. But yeah, so well, that sounds like a fantastic program and a lot that's gone into it. And I'm sure I'm right around your same age. I've been in the field for over 20 years as well. It's like, yeah, some of it is just like real cut and dried knowledge, but some of it is just what you've experienced with thousands of clients. So definitely. Amen. So what do we, I'm sure you get this question a lot, like when it comes to sugar, I mean, I know what my views are on this and different types of sugar. A lot of people are always asking me, like, if I put out a post about carbohydrates or, keeping them under a certain amount or using carbohydrates to your advantage to keep your insulin levels low so that you're not causing big blood sugar spikes. You just get a lot of questions. Well, what about honey? What about maple syrup? Which one's better? Like they always want to say, okay, they always want to be able to use some sort of form of sugar. Then it's like if I say, yeah, honey's better, then all of a sudden they're like squeezing a half a cup of honey on whatever it is that you're. So what is your approach to that? Like the different types of sugar, and it's a lot differently for each person, but like your views on fructose and with all of that.
I know. So on our next podcast,
yeah, right here goes another
start, the first thing I wanted to say, and just to start and then answer that, is not craving it is my number one goal. Sugar addiction expert, so not craving it is always where I go first. So women say, oh, I want to have this, no problem. Have we supported cravings free yet? Have you had a cravings free day ever in your life yet? No, Jen. Well, then we're not talking about that yet. See, for me, until you've been uninflamed enough and we call it getting your body back in balance, I'm not interested in you doing that yet. That's not the right first step. And I know that's not what you do in your program, but in my method, I need you cravings free because there's something else in the background going on that we need to discover where you're cravings free. And then when you want that, great, enjoy it. I do that. I have cake with the kids, but I know how to get back to cravings free. So I always got to get you back to that. So that's number one. Number two, once they say, look, I've been cravings free. I did your 30-day experience. I'm 4 months in, Jen, I feel great. I've dropped dress sizes. I'm sleeping again. My sex life is amazing. I'm like, now what do you want to know about sugar? And they say, well, look, I'm bored with what I'm doing and I want something. And I say, okay, what do you enjoy most? Not what's healthiest. What do you enjoy? We get so caught up in that 100-calorie bar isn't going to put weight on me. And it tastes like friggin' straw. So I ask, what do you enjoy? They go, oh, I like coconut sugar. Okay, well, let's just see how your body does with coconut sugar. But we need to know once you add, let's say, because coconut sugar for me, it doesn't inflame me. It does not seem to throw me out. And I love it in the cereal. I do. I have it because I'm training for a Spartan. Lord help us. It's amazing, but I've never done that to my body at almost 50. So half marathon, 30 obstacles. I'm like, let's go, mama. But I bring it up because it doesn't seem to inflame. I love it. It's something quick I can have before a workout, and it does not cause me to crave it. So I don't know. I will answer this with alcohols. I don't care if they say they're great for insulin resistance, this or right, diabetics. Women experience stomach upset with alcohol, anything, sugar, alcohols, anything with an OL. Stevia, very similar. I know they say it's healthy or doesn't affect, and this is your specialty, but I don't buy it because I don't care if my blood sugar isn't affected. I feel so sick after eating it and I'm on the bowl, right? Like, who cares? And so I will answer you and say that raw, unfiltered honey in a glass jar is what I find to be great, so long as it feels good and it does not addict a certain woman. Maple syrup, the best you can find. We buy it from Vermont. We have our favorite. My kids put that on their pancakes. It's like as whole as we can get. Do we pour it in everything? No. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
enjoy it. Monk fruits, it's the same. They say they love it. I feel so sick after, and a lot of women get addicted. Monk fruit is actually addictive for women. They just don't realize. So you need to test it. You need to be cravings free first. And the maple syrup, raw honey, glass jar, raw. You heard me say all those things. I didn't say the little honey bear, that thingy that people squeeze out. That ain't the same, people. So did I answer it or did I dance around it? I'm so
No,
afraid
you
sometimes to answer. I love
I
everyone
know, like,
buying
same
honey
with
now.
me. I get a DM on Instagram like, what about this food? I'm like, it's so great. You can't just say, is this food good? Like that is,
No, I don't work with
or
you
is
to
this
ever
food
just give a
bad? That's exactly what I say. I'm like, I don't label
talk
foods
to
as
you.
good or bad. Like
Yes.
it really depends on your body. It depends what context you're eating this in, how much you're eating it,
Nice
when you're
job.
eating it. It's just like, I can't say, yes, this is a great food for you. And people ask me that about fruit all the time. What about fruit?
Oh,
I thought I couldn't have any
fruit.
fruits at all.
Fruit.
Like,
I'll
oh,
take it. Yeah. So you feel like eating 7 Chips Ahoy, or would an awesome half banana get it done with peanut butter? Please make it peanut butter without sugar. Please, if you're going to have it, let it be in a glass jar, because plastic affects women's hormones. So
yeah.
everything in our house is glass. And so these little tweaks matter. But yes, go eat a friggin' banana. Does it have fructose? Yes. Is it high in sugar? Yes. Is it less damaging than a Chips Ahoy cookie? Yes. Is that going to solve all your problems? No. But at least it came from God. You pick it off a tree. It's one ingredient, and it's not loaded with all those chemicals that really are shortening a woman's life. So am I saying everyone go eat a banana? No, I do actually eat bananas, but I'm training in a certain way. I don't have any other cravings during the day. And so, right, so it's how you talk. And I don't have a sensitivity to it. I used to. And I took it out for years. And
Mhm.
so eat a piece of fruit, dear God.
I
Eat a
know.
piece of fruit over processed anything. Make sure it's organic. If it's one of the dirty dozen, I'll always say that because the chemicals hurt us.
Yes.
But eat a piece of fruit. We've been brainwashed over something else, not over eating a good lunch,
And don't
right?
put 6 pieces of fruit in a smoothie and call it good.
Very well said. That's correct. We once, true story, where we lived in an RV, which we won't get into today, but that's how we got from New York to Flagstaff. We
Okay.
decided to sell everything. Oh yeah, we got in an RV. We 3 kids, we homeschooled, year and a half, and I'll never forget it. We were in, I think it was in Florida. We're visiting to get to wherever we were going to live, which we love, Flagstaff, Arizona. We were there. I was like, wow, the smoothie's delicious. And I asked the woman after, hey, so what'd you put in it? Well, we use a base of banana. I said, great, because I do too, but I use a banana.
Yeah,
She
right.
goes, you ready? You ready for it? 11. And I
Oh,
said, hey,
what?
did you say 11 bananas? She goes, yeah, well, that's our base. And I was like, wow, so we're going to split that amongst the whole family now.
Right?
So Sydney, give me the smoothie. And so to your point, frightening, 11 bananas this at this smoothie place was acceptable. That's not okay. That'll put you into diabetic coma.
Right. Well, and then adding orange juice and then adding kiwi and then
Don't
adding
get me
pineapple.
started because it wasn't just banana. That was the base.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, don't misunderstand us.
Thank you, Shannon.
We are not saying like, don't eat fruit. We're just saying like, eat it in its natural form. I teach my clients if they want to enjoy fruit at a meal, eat it at the end. You'll have less of a blood sugar spike. All those things, like you
Oh,
said, it's just
nice.
little by little by little things that
Nice.
over the course of days to weeks to months to years, you're a whole new person before you even realize it. So you've talked a lot about
Mm,
cravings. I know you have a whole program in place, but if people
sure.
are really just feeling cravings and addiction and I know there's a lot of pieces here, but what would you say is like the very first step to start to just I don't even want to say reverse it,
Shannon.
just rewind that
No,
whole
get it into balance, if you don't mind me saying. That's the language we use. Severe cravings are a severe imbalance in the body. We're not bad people, even weight. I'm like, you're not bad for carrying 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds. Your body is upset with you and it's storing it. You're eating too many calories, too much energy. And if it's poisonous, it's going to store it in your hip, sister, because that's the safest place to store it. And so when women understand, they start to go, oh, so my body loves me. Yes, it does. It's saving you by storing it in certain places. And so we teach to have compassion for the body and to say the body is pissed off. So you have cravings. Yeah. And so it's just a perspective shift. So what I would say with, it's just have to take a deep breath because, right, like a whole other podcast. And for women who are like, wait, what is she going to say? Most of us walk around dehydrated. We are 80+% water. I know we appear like solid. We are 80+% water. And when we travel, altitude changes, get in a car and go places, really in airplanes, we actually dehydrate. And when we're stressed out, we dehydrate. And when, oh my God, we live and we think we're drinking coffee or sodas or other things and we're dehydrating with caffeine. We're dehydrating, eating a lot of carbs. The water's being used. We're just dehydrated. So I'm not gonna say, oh, go drink 8 glasses of water, like gag me. I'm not in food prepping, drink 8 glasses, drink half your body weight. All that stuff makes me like, great. I just need you to drink more water, preferably filtered without chlorine. Doesn't cost a lot. We have it under our sink. It's a 6 filtration. When we were in the RV, I made my husband drill because I thought I was gonna die with Rhode Island's water. I was like, get me some bottled stuff now. Yes, I will drink out of plastic because whatever's coming out of Rhode Island's KOA, I think it's going to kill us. And so by Vermont, we had a filtration system. So I need you to I need you to drink water, number one. Number two, because I can't go into everything and I don't know your listeners yet. When we are exhausted, I don't care how many whole grains you eat, how much protein you eat, how much water you drink, you will never not crave sugar, wine, cookies, chips at 4 o'clock, pretzels at 3, ice cream after 7. I've heard it all. It's because you're exhausted. And so that's why one of the things we deal with is exhaustion and teaching you how to sleep. We will guarantee that. I guarantee a lot of things. I'm always like, oh God, I guarantee that. Because I know when you follow us and you follow these pieces in 6 months, you will have these things handled. So long as you follow and you ask for help. But so yeah, so it's you're exhausted and you're dehydrated is my short answer.
It's about as short as it can get. Yeah, I know, because it's like, oh,
There's
there's
so
not
many other
one
pieces.
thing for every person, but
I know who we're talking to right
yes,
now. And
yes.
women exhaust themselves, whether you have children or not, because we're extremely amazing go-getters, and so we're exhausted. We're just exhausted and we're dehydrated. And when that doesn't work, well, then we fill in all the other pieces of the method.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I've had a really stressful, my listeners know, like a stressful couple of months just with some things happened with my business, and my Instagram account was hacked, and just like I was completely disengaged from a lot of my following for several weeks. And
Wow.
like, I'm one of those people who, when I'm stressed out, I actually lose weight. Like I was the lowest weight I'd been in years. And I'm like, I don't like this. Like, I'm just one of those, like, stress hits me. I don't sleep. I lose
Right
weight.
there.
I like, there's just so many things. And it's like these things resolved. And thank goodness the rest of my life is pretty well in check. It's just like this, I knew it was more of a temporary thing, but holy
Amen.
man, I mean, stress just, I like, my neck was tight every single day. I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta get some sleep. And even when I
Oh
slept,
yeah.
like, I wear an Aura ring and my heart rate was always elevated, like, "Oh, your heart rate's still elevated." I'm like, "I know, like, I'm stressed out." So, it's so important to get a handle on that for sure,
We
or
teach that. Call me after this call. We teach that, right? It's literally how to like get it out of your subconscious
yeah,
because
and people
women
who go
are
through my program too, it's like they do all the pieces. They do the nutrition. They're living a good lifestyle. They've cleaned up their water, like you said. Like we have reverse osmosis. I'm super picky about what water I drink,
I
but
know you are.
then we get to the sleep and stress module, and like, I'm not sleeping, I'm stressed out. It's like, okay, well, you can do all these things, but if you don't get those foundational pieces in place first, it's just gonna be a
The
battle.
weight ain't never coming off, sister. Not that this is
Yeah,
all about weight. Your liver ain't detoxing jack. Sorry. Yes, it's
right.
fun. We get to educate you and I.
Yeah.
I love what we do.
Yes, it is. It's life-changing, and but people don't know, like, they don't know how the body works. They don't know how all of these pieces are fitting together. So that's why I love
We educate.
educating on this platform, and then, getting emails like,
Thank you.
"Oh my gosh, my life has changed, and just from listening to your podcast," or whatever. It's like, yeah, everybody deserves to know this information, but not.
Not taught. I always say it's not taught.
So I know in your it's called sugar freedom method, but you also work on chocolate and wine addiction as well. Like, how is that kind of the same
Girl, it's all the same.
steps? Okay.
It's all
And
the
what
same.
is it like?
Chocolate, wine, sugar, it all affects the same way. So alcohol is addictive for those who don't know. I'll say it. Alcohol is addictive.
I hardly ever drink,
Wine
so you're definitely not offending
is
me.
sugar and it's addictive. Oh, it's okay. But here's the thing, when we own things, then we're empowered. They
Yeah.
don't run us anymore. So it's not like I don't drink. I love tequila. It's an upper. I know how to have it without any sugar in it. And that's the only thing I'll really drink. I used to drink wine and other stuff. It absolutely causes me anxiety. And the method is based on simple, fun, and easy, like no joke. It's the last thing I ask before I screen women who want to join us, because you all meet me. And I say, look, it's simple, fun, and easy. This needs to feel lighter working with us, or don't come. And so it's not like, oh my God, take it out. But I'm going to tell you now, when it's running you and you don't feel good and the weight ain't coming off and you're like, and it is addictive, like, let's go. Do you want it handled? Do you look? I always say, look, the reason I do this, yeah, it's nice. I put a bikini on. Yay, I'm almost 50. How fun. But let me tell you, that wears off really quick because it's more winter than it's summer with bikinis. And it's because I have a vision. In my 70s and 80s, we ski, we're active. Like, I want to do things with my kids. Like, hey, mom, yeah, I want to ski with you. Yeah, I want to go out to Vail. Yeah, let's go hit the Swiss Alps. Yeah, you want to go for a hike? I'll beat you. I'm a little competitive. And so just the body ages from everything we're talking about. The body ages. It ages, aches and pains, and you need surgeries and you get tumors. I've seen it all. And you're not sleeping and you get weight on you and then you can't do stuff. I'm not interested. I'm in the business of, I like want to live really healthy and then God just take me. Like, really,
Yes,
I'm
I'm
not
right there
interested.
with you.
That's
I
why I
could
do
care
it.
less if I live to 95, if my quality of life sucks by 70. Like, I'm not about that. I'm not about living 25 years not being feeling well. Like, I'd rather die at
Correct.
70
Correct.
than just to not live well for 25 years. So yes, and it's
Well
interesting. I'm
said.
glad you brought that up because sugar ages us so quickly and people don't realize that. Like, they're like, oh yeah, it's addictive. Yeah, it really takes a toll on my blood sugar, but it's that imbalance in the blood sugar and all of those
Facelifts can't
it's just
do
like,
what not eating
no,
sugar does at almost
exactly.
50. You
Exactly.
can't, you can't. They'll sell you all that, but your innards, yeah, I can go all
Yeah.
day.
And I
Well,
don't like to like, oh, look at me. But I'm sure we're about the same age. I'm 46 and my
I
daughter's
got 2 years
19.
on you, but
And
that's
I go,
okay. I got
yeah,
2.
but it's like sometimes they're like, oh, your mom, I thought your mom was one of your friends from a distance,
Well, why
like
can't
I'm
we just
sitting
say
there with
that?
my
Because
daughter or
you
whatever.
need to walk your
And
talk.
I'm
It's
like,
perfect.
okay, well, I don't like, what you see is what you get with me. Like, I haven't ever done anything out of like Botox, nothing like that. I mean, I just haven't. And I attribute it to eating real food, not eating very often, and just being active and keeping all the time, as many
And
toxins.
loving your life and keeping stress down and having a great
Yeah,
marriage and
I
making everything work. I can go
try with
all day on this.
stress. The stress is probably my main my
Yeah,
biggest downfall that I
talk
really
about
need
that.
to be on top of. So,
Talk about that.
yeah,
It's a
but yeah, it's
mindset.
like
It's a mindset.
it
Yeah.
is, and it's, you kind of bring stress on yourself sometimes too. So
Well, we
it's
just
a work.
learn how to put stress where it needs to be or redefine the stress. That's another podcast I'll be on next
Yeah,
week. And so Shannon and I are going to be talking about.
we're gonna have like a 10-part series. All right, but one more question,
Thank you for that.
and we'll
Really good
wrap up.
stuff. Sure.
Like where we can
Sure.
learn more about
Amazing.
the sugar freedom method. But we have lots of moms on here. We talked a little bit about kids already, but what are some tips? I know I've asked other guests this too. My kids are 19, 17, and 14.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know what we eat in our house. I know what I bring into the house. I'm not crazy, mom. We do have a couple of things that I wish I would rather not have here, but it's like you just don't want to cross that line all the time.
Yeah.
And for them to think that they can't ever have any of those foods. But I mean, it is tough. It is tough for kids because it doesn't matter where they are, school, friend's house, convenience store, gas station, grocery store. I mean, they are exposed to so much crap, and the crappy food has been normalized.
Yes, it
And the
has.
real food has been
Yes, it has.
made to feel weird for kids. Like, oh, what the heck are you eating? Or, my kids always get, oh, are you sure your mom knows that that isn't organic? And you're putting, like, this is what my kids face, which I don't care. Like, I'll own that. Like, if they want to make fun of you for eating organic food, hey, I'm fine with that. But what tips do you have for families and,
Love it. I already have the
yeah,
answer.
yeah, go ahead. I don't even need to keep
Get
that.
educated. Our kids are watching us. Get educated. I'm going to go there. You have an addiction, get it handled because kids are a product of their environment. So if you've got an issue, your kids have an issue because you have an issue. My kids don't have that issue. My kids have other issues
Yeah.
unrelated to this podcast because of who I am. I own that. We talk about it. My mother was a yeller too. Sorry. 100% Italian. We apologize a lot. I have curbed all of that. It's a learning thing. I'm all about forgiveness of self and then apologies and then making it better and a growth environment. But I'm going to tell you now, and it's not pointing a finger. It's just, if your kids have an issue, don't you dare tell them not to eat those things. If you're doing it and you're unhealthy and you carry excess weight, it's not about feeling bad about yourself. Do something about it. My kids watch. My 9-year-old goes, I really think I'd feel better at school if we did yoga before school. And I'm like this, really, Sydney? She goes, yeah. So I blew it off and she asked me again today. No, I don't do all that much yoga, but she knows I go to the gym every morning. It's my meditation. I go 25 minutes, sometimes 30. They know on weekends, be right back. Dad made breakfast. I go. It's my centering. It's me time. And she is insisting on that. Where the heck did that come from? I didn't say we should do yoga. My son said, I should eat that ice cream tonight. I got this canker sore. I always get a canker sore when I eat that. My other one's like, oh, my bowels were running last night. You know, Mom, let's get that apple pie you bought. They self-friggin' regulate. Mom, what are Takis? These things are gross. Have you read the label? And so they're their own advocate now. And I realize I do this for a living and all I do is educate. It's what, oh, guys, we really can't get this today. We're not going to do that. Look at that stuff. It makes Kate crazy. And so get educated because it's not going to be, you really shouldn't eat ice cream 3 nights in a row or don't have that much Halloween candy and just sucking the wine down on a Friday.
Right.
They watch us. My kids absolutely self-regulate. And when they don't, I'm like, so how's your belly feel after those 7 cookies? Oh yeah, I shouldn't have done it. I got it. Helpful. I went there.
No, it's funny that you
there.
say something about Takis because it was probably
the heck are those things? They're new to me.
I didn't know either. One of my kids comes home and like so and so loves Takis, and now he wears his Taki sweatshirt every day. I'm like, what are Takis? Like,
Let me tell you,
no idea. I know what they are now, but at the time I never heard
than
them.
Doritos. My kids ate them.
I don't even go down that aisle. So I didn't at the grocery store, and usually I order my groceries and I know what, it's like, I don't put that crap in my grocery cart. So I was
my
like,
kids spit them out.
And same thing. I looked at the ingredients and like the colors and
it'll kill you. It'll just kill you. Give every kid ADHD. I'm going to say it out loud. Throws your gut out. I get crazy. ADHD is just an inability to just focus. Absolutely. Agreed. And so go get help and educate yourself. I can't say anything else. Women who come see us, they don't know these things. Then they go, oh, my kids are asking now because they're watching me downsize and watching me get off antidepressants and watching me just not yell and feel calm and not have mood swings. And they're like, Mom, what are you doing? And then you tell them and they go, oh, me too. I help, daughters who are 21 who have anxiety and who want antidepressants. They're 21 because their mothers didn't know themselves because they were anxious and the daughters got anxious because the mothers were anxious. I don't blame you, but get help so you can help them because we help our children when we help ourselves. I hear this all the time from my mothers. My kid doesn't have anxiety anymore. Oh, thank you, God.
I know.
I helped her.
Huge. It's huge. Yes. And it's like, I want to educate my kids on nutrition. Like that's my job as a parent. It's not the schools. It's not schools, it's not teachers, like they don't need to do the work that I should be doing is how I feel about the nutrition part at my house. So, well, thank you so much for that. Where can we find more about you and your sugar freedom method?
Oh my gosh, it's always like, but I always say, well, here's the beauty. I do everything simple. So I am literally Jenn Edden everywhere. So you could find me on LinkedIn. You could find me at my website, jecoaching.com, but you could Google Jenn Edden. I am on Facebook, friend me, but message me because I get 100 of those and say, hey, I was on Shanna's podcast. I mean that because this is a lot of stuff that comes in. You could find me there and you can ask me a question. I've got a page on Facebook, so you can catch me there. Instagram, you'll love that. And I've got should I go all day? I do a YouTube every Wednesday. We drop it like it's hot. And so you could find me on YouTube and follow me there. But you could always send me a message. Always send me a message or email me through my website and I'll get it.
Wonderful. Well, I am so happy that you came on the show today and shared all of your knowledge. And I mean, we're just kind of hitting the tip of the iceberg here. But even just people always tell me, like, I just get a little bit from each podcast episode or each episode that you're doing. And I'm like, hey, then we're doing my job. I'm doing my job. My guests are doing their
Ah,
job. So,
that's
so
right.
happy that you are doing the work that you're doing and changing people's lives and keep it up.